Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my Champions League Match Day 1 predictions. Yes, we are rebooting this series just like last season where I predict every single match day of the competition. Finally, European football is returning. I know a lot of you asked me to do Europa League predictions as well. Don't worry, those are still coming out. Just give me another day or two to edit them. So as always, before we get into this prediction video, make sure you leave an early like, subscribe if you're new, and let me know your predictions in the comments below. But not just that, make sure you submit your predictions on who will be the 5 best players in this first match day on Sorare. New season of football obviously means Sorare have just released new cards, and they've got the European Champions tournament already ready for you guys to submit your squads for some incredible cash rewards. Here's what I'm predicting to be the 5 best players though. In goal, I'm choosing Raya from Arsenal as they travel to Bilbao. I could see him getting a clean sheet here. In the defense, I'm picking Hakimi, as although PSG do have a tough schedule, I think they can start strong against Atalanta at home. Midfielder will be Szoboszlai as Liverpool take on Atletico Madrid at home. Although it seems like a tough match, Atletico have had a slow start to the season, so I think Liverpool can grab the 3 points. Maybe I'm getting carried away with Haaland's performance against Moldova, but he'll be my pick in the attack with Manchester City taking on Napoli. And my extra player will be Luis Suarez on Sporting. The Colombian has already scored 7 goals this season, so I'm expecting him to score more against Kairat. So make sure you submit your squads as well by clicking the link down below, as first place of this tournament gets a total cash prize of $2,500 for just this first match day. Alright, finally getting into the fixtures now, starting off with PSV versus Royal Union. Champions of the Netherlands versus champions of Belgium. And as for the Belgian club, this will be their first ever time participating in the Champions League, after just winning the Belgian Pro League for the first time in over 90 years. What a rise this team have told alone though in the past few years. I mean, they had a deep run in the Europa League recently, and they very much have a doable fixture in their first ever match of the Champions League. Obviously won't be easy, PSV have a lot more experience, but the way their manager Peter Bros utilizes this team, they could definitely leak in some goals. But at the same time, PSV's attack throws many people off. Everyone was expecting Ivan Perisic to hang up the boots soon, but he's still going strong. He set records in the last Champions League campaign against the likes of Juventus. Ricardo Pepi has had many clutch moments, so hopefully he stays fit throughout the season. The Romanian Denis Man, Basian Esmir Baraktarevic. Verman will be injured though, that's a huge loss. But yeah, with what I just stated about PSV's defense, their recent scores have proven my point. Look at that, their last scoreline, they won 3-5 away. And in late August, they scored 4 but conceded 2. Meanwhile, Union Saint-Gilloise picked up 4 clean sheets in a row. Obviously, they lost their main striker from last season, Franjo Ivanovic, who's gone to Benfica. But all their new forward options have been pulling through and scoring goals. PSV might look like the slightest of favorites just because of their experience in the Champions League, but I really think this one is a flip of a coin. Despite the Belgian club getting quite a lot of clean sheets recently, I think it might end here. This match will go really back and forth. It'll be end to end. I see PSV winning 3-2. Definitely torn about it, but seems like a great fixture for being one of the first matches to be played in the Champions League. The other one that's happening at the same time is Atletico Bilbao versus Arsenal. A very important match for the Gunners. They need to start strong here. They've already had a very good start to the season, only just losing to Liverpool at Anfield 1-0 from a Szoboszlai free kick. Other than that, luck went their side against Manchester United a bit, but they cruised through against Leeds and Nottingham Forest. These sides also faced each other in the Emirates Cup final over the summer, obviously kind of a friendly tournament, but still, Arsenal won 3-0. Basing it more off of recent form, Atletico Bilbao are not looking to be in the best shape. Their first 3 victories of the season were narrow, and now they narrowly lost to 2 clubs that they probably should have beaten, failing to score any goals in the month of September. The Spanish clubs still have a massive point to prove. This is their first time in the Champions League in 10 years. Based on the scorelines, I think Athletic Club have really shown that they lack a proper goal-scoring threat. They have some top ballers there, but the likes of Williams can be inconsistent sometimes. What a respectable club though, as we all know, all their players are homegrown, so it's really cool to see a different club dynamic and how successful they've been. However, I do think Arsenal will grab the 3 points. It might be a bit narrow. I'll go for 1-0. Maybe Arsenal could expect even more with some of their world-class signings, Victor Gyökeres being the top goal scorer last season in Europe. Zubimendi has been brilliant. He scored a golazo against Nottingham Forest. I'll say it's just one of those cagey matches Arsenal just pull through in with maybe a hostile atmosphere. We'll see though, they could definitely make it more. Moving on now to an incredible match, Juventus versus Dortmund. Juventus coming off an absolute high right now, defeating Inter 4-3. Definitely one of the best matches so far this season, with Kenan Yildiz scoring a banger, the Thuram brothers both getting on the score sheet, and the Montenegrin youngster Ajax getting the game winner. The Italian side have without a doubt straightened their attack, and it's showing. Just signing Jonathan David, getting Openda on loan. Zegrova unfortunately will be injured for this fixture most likely, but this side are lethal up top. I'm a bit worried about their defense though, as it was proven against Inter. They definitely conceded quite a lot, and Dortmund could be no different, as they they do have the the joint top goal scorer of the Champions League last season, Gilloise. But Dortmund should be worried about their defense as well, as they have quite a lot of injuries. Schlotterbeck has been gone for some time. Sula will be out for this fixture. Very curious to see how this match pans out though as a neutral, as I'll be seeing two Croatian managers going head to head. Niko Kovac and Igor Tudor have definitely proven to be both solid fits for their clubs. Dortmund definitely should not be taken lightly. They're coming off of some good form. They didn't concede in their last two matches, but I do think they'll concede quite a lot here. I think Juventus will start strong at home. I'm saying they win 3-1. Next up, Benfica versus Qarabag. Two sides that confirm their qualification to the Champions League much later than the others. Qarabag doing it dramatically against Ferencvaros, and Benfica only scoring one goal over two legs against Fenerbahce. The goal scorer, Aktokolo, is gone. He was phenomenal even in the last Champions League campaign. This side on paper still have many great attacking reinforcements with some new signings already mentioned like Franjo Ivanovic, even Luke Bacchio, who is suffering an unknown return date on injury. Sulikov should be electric, but the recent results I wouldn't say have been so mind-blowing. They failed to beat Santa Clara despite them getting a red card in the first half, and barely hung on to their previous opponent while conceding a red card there. This Benfica side could definitely be dangerous across this Champions League campaign, but it still seems like they're trying to find the solution on how to really get their attack to click. Meanwhile, Qarabag, the Azerbaijani club, are so unpredictable. Last season, they were in the Europa League and only picked up one win. Of course, it had to be while they were traveling away against the side that are known for having one of the toughest home grounds to travel to. Do I see this side doing well in the Champions League this season? Not really, but I still think they're going to pull off some kind of massive upset somewhere. And it definitely can happen against Benfica with not really their stable form at the moment. Do I want to go for it already though? I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to say Benfica do grab the 2-1 victory. Now moving on to Tottenham versus Villarreal. Tottenham overall have been in really good form under Thomas the Frank engine. Sure, they got that loss to Bournemouth, but you got to keep in mind, that's the only goal they conceded the entire Premier League season so far. 3-0 to Burnley, 2-0 to Manchester City, and 3-0 to West Ham. Can they keep up that incredible defensive record? I think it might be a bit tougher actually against Villarreal. This side went all out in the transfer window for their attack. They've got Tottenham Solomon on loan, Tejan Buchanan, and now just signing the Georgian Mikwadadze. So far their form has been alright, but they didn't win their last two matches. They got Atletico Madrid to also regain their form. Tottenham also have their issues. I mean, James Maddison will be injured for pretty much the whole season, but clearly they've been adapting just fine, and they also just signed Xavi Simons. This is another match where I see infinite outcomes, but one thing's for sure, I think we're going to see a decent amount of goals. Villarreal really might throw off Tottenham's style of play, so I don't know what to expect here. I could see it being a draw, to be honest. I think I'll go for that. Going to be a high-scoring one, 2-2. I don't want to underestimate Villarreal this season. Moving on now to Real Madrid versus Marseille. Real Madrid are definitely the favorites in this. Earlier on, I would have said that Marseille definitely stood a chance against them away. When you look at their squad, it's definitely a dangerous side on paper, but they should make a TV show about all the drama they've been enduring. Rabiot and Jonathan Rowe both getting exits for their scrap. Mason Greenwood, even if you hate him, you can't deny he was phenomenal last season for the club. Aubameyang still going strong at 36. They just signed Pavard, strengthening that backline a lot. Real Madrid did have some narrow scorelines recently, picking up 2-2-1 victories. Their last one you got to applause for though. I mean, they defeated Real Sociedad while having a red card for most of the match. Rudiger will be out injured, but still I think their backline reinforcements are definitely solid. Love to see Arda Güler finally getting more playing time. Kylian Mbappe already 5 direct goal contributions this season in La Liga. Marseille did pick up their form over the weekend, to be fair, scoring 4 past Lorient, but they did concede an early red card. I don't want to rule out the French club, but I think Real Madrid's got this, a 2-0 victory for Los Blancos. Moving on to another underrated fixture, Greek versus Cyprus club, Olympiacos versus Pafos. Olympiacos under Mendilibar have been fantastic. Top 8 in the last league phase of the Europa League, winning the Conference League the season before. El Khabi getting more European goals within a certain amount of time frame over the likes of Mbappe, Haaland in European football. They just signed the Iranian gem Taremi as well, having a phenomenal debut, scoring 2 goals as a substitute. So far, they haven't conceded any goals in the Greek league, and I don't think they will in their first Champions League match, to be honest. They shouldn't underestimate Pafos. Obviously, this side are making their debut in the Champions League, and they'll want to go off to a flying start. They did just pick up an away loss this weekend, and although I really love some of their signings, shout out to David Luiz, I still think Olympiacos has got this one in the bag. I'm going to shoot for 3-0. Moving on to Slavia Praha versus Bodo Glimt. Bodo Glimt I've talked about in many videos now. Their home record when they play in European football is incredible. I definitely would give them more of the benefit of the doubt if they were playing there, but now they got to travel all the way to Prague. The perfect example is the fixture that they won in the Champions League. I mean, they destroyed SK Sturm Graz 5-0 at their own home ground, but then when they traveled there, they lost 2-1. Obviously still qualifying on aggregate, but still you get the point. Also, their last 2 fixtures in the Norwegian league. Narrow victory traveling away, dominant display at home. And Slavia Praha are definitely not a bad side. They won their last 3 matches 3-1. The attack's definitely clicking with the likes of Lukas Prevod at attacking midfield, the Slovakian Ivan Šranc, who was phenomenal at the Euros as well. Bodo Glimt have quite a lot of injuries as well, especially in the attack. Their top goal scorer, Kasper Høeg, has been injured. I'm not really sure when he'll return. I know in my general predictions, I predicted Bodo Glimt to do quite well, but in the circumstances they're in right now, I actually do see Slavia Praha getting the 3 points. I will say the Czech club can win 2-1. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw though. Moving on to one of the bigger matchups though on paper within this match day, Bayern Munich versus Chelsea. Many historic moments from this fixture have come within the Champions League, and more history will be written out if Nicolas Jackson plays, as he's just made the switch from Chelsea to Bayern. The results this weekend were very different for both clubs. Bayern Munich just destroyed Hamburg 5-0, while Chelsea blew their lead to Brentford with a stoppage time equalizer. I don't think that result will knock this side down too much though. I mean, they still have a lot of confidence to build on, just winning the Club World Cup after everyone underestimated them against PSG. The English club have a really great midfield and attacking unit. Joao Pedro, I stand by this, has still settled in with the club so well, but of course Harry Kane has been off to a flying start for Bayern, already 8 direct goal contributions. Lucho has been incredible as well, he's gotten 5. Olise is so highly regarded right now. Anything's possible with a fixture like this, of course, but I am leaning towards Bayern. I think they'll just do the job with a 2-1 victory. Perfect scenario though is that Nicolas Jackson comes on as a sub and gets the game winner. PSG versus Atalanta now. I'm going to be very quick on my actual result. I think PSG's definitely got this one. They're going to win 3-0. I mainly say that because PSG are only continuing to fly high. Obviously, they lost that Club World Cup final, but they're still the Champions League winners, while Atalanta have seemed to regress a bit on the surface, signing Juric. He's just not had the greatest resume recently. He failed to help Southampton avoid relegation. He also didn't really do that well at Roma, trying to be the successor for De Rossi. Sure, he did just get a statement victory against Lecce, winning 4-1, but that has been their first win all season, and now they're coming up against such a tough club with ballers in every single position. PSG are just enjoying every second in Ligue 1 when you got the likes of Joao Neves scoring 2 bicycle kick goals in a single match. Just so much depth in the attack that they can rely on. Yes, Dembele and Doué will be missing a few weeks, but like I said, they still have so much depth. Very quick and frustrating team to come up against. I think they're going to do a very good job against the Italian side. Moving on to Ajax versus Inter. Unfortunately, I think there is another favorite on the surface, but you never know. Inter are traveling away, and they just got heartbroken over the weekend. I think that match and this season overall have shown that they are not so great defensively, so Ajax might be able to take advantage. But at the same time, Hetinga and Ajax as a whole, I feel like are not as strong as they should be. And in terms of the quality Ajax possess with the tactics they've been utilizing, I don't think it's going to be strong enough to handle against a UCL finalist. Some of Inter's signings have been really solid as well, and of course their veterans are still pulling the strings. Despite them losing against Juventus, Çalhanoğlu scoring 2 absolute bangers, I think Inter are going to win this match 2-0. They're also trying to reshape their identity with new management as well, with Inzaghi gone, but I think they can handle their first UCL fixture somewhat at ease. We move on now to Liverpool versus Atletico. Hopefully Liverpool don't get PTSD from this match, but I don't really see Atletico doing it again at Anfield just because of their recent record. Yes, they did come back in form over this weekend, but overall they've had a really slow start to La Liga. Liverpool nearly dropped points to newly promoted Burnley, and many are calling them the luckiest team in the world for that, as they've gotten a few last-minute winners already. But the fact stands that they're still the only club in the Premier League right now to get 4 for 4 wins. And we all know about the incredible transfer window Liverpool have had. Some are saying Wirtz has not lived up to the hype yet, but I still think he needs time. Alexander Isak still needs to make his debut for the Reds. Atletico might go back to their old ways, trying to really get the best defensively out of Liverpool and playing some great counter-attacking football. But overall, Atletico still have not been strong enough defensively recently, so I do see them conceding. I still think this won't be really close though. I am going for the Liverpool victory though. They win 2-1. Moving on to Copenhagen versus Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen, as we've seen, are just too tough to predict right now. In my initial prediction video, I had them eliminated at the league phase, as Erik ten Hag has not had the best start with them, but he immediately got sacked, which I do think was a bit unfair and too soon. I mean, how are they supposed to adjust so soon after losing so many key players? But now they have just signed the former Denmark national team manager Kasper Hjulmand, and so far he's been a fantastic fit. They just came back in form, winning their first Bundesliga match of the season against Frankfurt, somehow doing so while picking up 2 red cards. While Copenhagen have basically had the opposite experience. They started off pretty well, but this weekend they picked up a loss to their rivals Brøndby. Clearly Leverkusen have somewhat clicked quite quickly though, and I think they can take care of Copenhagen even away. I'll say it's a narrow 2-1 result. Moving on now to Club Brugge versus Monaco. Club Brugge with a statement victory in the UCL qualifiers, demolishing Rangers 9-1 on aggregate. This side are incredible, mixed with veterans and new upcoming talent that thrive well together. No matter who they replace at the club, they end up being just fine still. But since that immense victory against Rangers, they have been quite slow, failing to win their last 2 matches. While Monaco are just a totally revamped team now. Bringing back Paul Pogba to football, which we've all been waiting for, Ansu Fati, Eric Dyer in the defense. Defensively though, they have not been so great. They haven't picked up a single clean sheet all season so far. And with Club Brugge blistering pace in the attack, they very much can take advantage against this club. Wouldn't be surprised for any type of outcome in this match, but I'm going to shoot for a draw. I think it will finish 2-2. Now moving on to Frankfurt versus Galatasaray. Now Galatasaray's rebuild has been very exciting. They've signed so many incredible players, loads of experience with the likes of Gundogan, being able to hold on to Victor Osimhen, Sané, but their away record in European football is unfortunately abysmal. Their last away win was all the way back when they defeated Manchester United at Old Trafford. That was already 2 years ago. And they were in the Europa League last season with some decent fixtures that they couldn't capitalize on. Yes, I think their squad is very much improved, but still, you just cannot trust Turkish clubs. They're way too unpredictable. Meanwhile, Frankfurt, like I mentioned already, they got a loss over the weekend at Leverkusen, but they had solid attacking displays in their other 2 Bundesliga fixtures. Obviously, brand new season for Galatasaray. They could very much impress in this Champions League campaign. I know a lot of fans are optimistic, but I think this one is going to finish in a draw, 1-1. I know I predicted Frankfurt to go out quite early, but I still think they have a fantastic squad. You got to keep in mind that although Frankfurt did lose to Leverkusen, their manager Todd Muller has not led the side to a loss since the quarterfinals in the Europa League against Tottenham, who ended up winning the whole thing. That was all the way back in April. Moving on to Sporting versus Kairat. Sporting are probably so blessed that they don't have to travel all the way to Kazakhstan. Starting off in Lisbon, while Luis Suarez has been in fantastic form, I think Sporting are going to win comfortably here, unfortunately. I'm rooting for Kairat to be honest, but I think Sporting will win 5-0. I know, Kairat have been incredible defensively. It would be crazy if they conceded 5 after holding on Celtic to 2 0-0 draws in the Champions League qualifiers, and also recently picking up 2 clean sheets. But I think the level of football is different, and Sporting will start off very strong. They've been doing really well this season so far. Moving on now to Newcastle versus Barcelona. This should be a great fixture, but Newcastle only just picked up their first win this weekend. People were skeptical for Barcelona as well, as they barely defeated Levante and drew with Rayo Vallecano. But this weekend they came back at full swing, destroying Valencia 6-0. They did that all without Lamine Yamal as well, who unfortunately is most likely ruled out against Newcastle. Barcelona are one of the most electric teams, and they really proved themselves in the last Champions League campaign, topping the leaderboards in so many different statistics. I think they can defeat Newcastle 3-1. I think Newcastle are still clicking together with some of their new signings. I think they will start slow a bit, but maybe they can pick off some very good results later on. And last but not least, we've got Manchester City versus Napoli. Manchester City just getting a statement victory against United in the Manchester Derby, 3-0. Much needed victory as their form has been all over the place, losing to Brighton and Tottenham. While Conte's Napoli is continuing to shine. They've won all their 3 matches in the City A so far. No Lukaku, no problem. As most of us predicted, Manchester United is the problem. Højlund already scored on his debut. But of course, the biggest narrative about this match is Kevin De Bruyne already returning to the Etihad. But still, those ex-Manchester United players returning to Manchester already, they're going to have a lot to prove. And I think Conte has a lot to prove as well, as his record in European football is not so great. Yes, domestically, he triumphs many times, and his Scudetto win with Napoli will go down in history. I know Man City have been shaky, and Napoli can definitely take advantage, but I think they are starting to regain their confidence and composure. I wouldn't be surprised if this one finishes in a draw, but I'm saying Manchester City do get a decent victory here. I'll go for 3-1. Well, there you have it, guys. Those are all of my UCL Matchday 1 predictions. Like I said, let me know yours in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already to let me know you want me to continue this Matchday prediction series. Best of luck to your club, and don't forget Europa League predictions will be out soon. Take care. Laco Noite.